What's up, peeps? We're back. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benson. Thank you so much for joining us for our YouTube edition of the AEW Insider. As always, we got a loaded show. I got some AEW news, some WWE news, some Impact Wrestling news, some Dark Side of the Ring news, and some really good random wrestling and sporting news. Remember, if you want to win that Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse Ringside Collectibles exclusive action figure, you gotta stick around to the end of the show to find out how. Since this is the AEW Insider, let's kick it off with a little AEW news. AEW. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Chris Jericho was asked whether AEW gave them any limitations when it comes to how far they can go in the Blood and Guts match. Jericho said, "Obviously. I mean, we've seen a lot of gimmick matches. Violent matches. I mean, what could we do that Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa didn't do, 3 weeks ago? I'm smarter than that. You guys know me, man. You know how I think and how I am. Just because it's called Blood and Guts doesn't mean there's gonna be 10 guys going coast to coast cutting themselves on the forehead, brother. That's not gonna be the case, because that's not gonna do anything for you. I think what it is that we're doing is going to put these 10 guys in this cage. You know, when they beat me up, I was bleeding. When we beat them up, Dax wasn't supposed to bleed. If you watch it, I just hit him. I grabbed the picture off the wall and hit him. I hit Max over the head, and I hit him back with it, and I kind of just hit Dax when he was walking away, and the splinter caught him, and now he's suddenly bleeding all over the place. We've seen blood before in this feud. I think it's more about intensity and the story we could tell and how the match ends. I'm sure there will be some blood, but there won't be any guts. I don't want to disappoint anybody, but nobody's getting Harry Carey with a samurai sword when you see entrails or anything like that. AEW President Tony Khan discussed his love for classic wrestling matches and which matches he likes to go back and rewatch during an appearance on a recent episode of Busted Open Radio. Khan said, "Okay, there's 2 matches I go back and watch every year. One is very recent, and they're completely different. One of them is Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus the Young Bucks, which to me is as good a tag match as I've seen. The other is Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat. I go back and watch it every year. They're completely different. One has all the bells and whistles, one has less bells and whistles. They're both perfect. One is my favorite tag team match, the other is my favorite singles match. So yeah, Hangman Page and Kenny versus the Young Bucks, and Savage and Steamboat. And I have to say myself, one of my favorite matches also is Savage and Steamboat." John Silver discussed suffering an injury while working a TNT title match with Darby Allin on an episode of AEW Dynamite on March 25th. Silver said, "It's a shoulder injury, but we won't need any surgery." So Silver said, "I was happy with everything. I know a lot of people are watching and talking about it, and a lot of people reach out to me randomly from companies everywhere. Some people I don't even talk to often were hitting me up and saying how much they liked the match and how much they were rooting for me. It was really cool to see how people were invested. I thought the match went really well. Obviously, I hurt my shoulder during the match. I also bashed my head on the concrete. I had a huge knot on the back of my head. I hit my head and Alex Reynolds jumps over the railing and I'm like, 'Alex, I'm fucked.' I look over to the camera and he's right there and I'm like, ah shit, a camera. I move my arm, my shoulder's fucked. It just sucks to get hurt. Now I have to take a little bit of time off. I won't be away from TV. It was really cool to have the main event match for a title and people are really invested in it. But I won't be away from TV though." On to WWE. Now if you're a fan of WWE, then you know for eons how superstars have to wait outside Vince McMahon's office to get some FaceTime with them, so they can vent their frustrations, pitch new ideas, what have you. In the WWE, that's pretty much the only way to throw yourself a life preserver if you find yourself drowning there. A lot of superstars over the years have used this tactics, whether it worked for them or it didn't. Then they were eventually told to stop waiting outside of Vince McMahon's office. They were told to go to catering instead, and someone would come get them when they're ready. So now you can't even wait there. You have to let them know you want to see Vince, and whenever he seems fit or has time, which could be 3 months and it's already too late and you're getting released, they'll come get you in catering when they're ready. As seen on this week's episode of Friday Night Smackdown in Tampa, Roman Reigns retained the Universal title over Daniel Bryan. As a result, Bryan is now banned from Smackdown. Reigns issued this statement on Twitter. "Already putting in work, just a few hours removed on Saturday morning. Last night I achieved greatness once again. As I am hitting this cardio, I'm sitting here and thinking the whole world should be thanking me. Daniel Bryan, you should be thanking me. I'm a man of my word. I did what I said I was going to do. Not only did I give the audience what they need, I got rid of you and I'm driving us forward, taking care of the future, getting rid of the old. I gave you what you wanted. You made it clear. You were looking for a new door. What better way to go through a new one than when the old one hits you right in the ass? That's what I did. I closed this door for you. We're gonna live the show up and win mantra and keep putting work in. Next Friday on Smackdown, not only do I expect you to acknowledge me, we're not talking about you, Daniel Bryan. We're done with you. Go have fun, be a dad, save the world, hug a tree, whatever you want to do. The WWE Universe. Some of them call you that. But to me, you're mine. You're my audience and my people. Not only are you going to acknowledge me on Friday, you're going to thank me. There are a ton of rumors that WWE is scouting ex-Saved by the Bell star Mario Lopez to do some ring work and broadcasting work in WWE. People backstage say the rumors are not true, but as I always say, where there's smoke, there's fire, so you never know. And it would be good doing interviews for like pre-shows and backstage events. Jason Jordan has been named lead producer of Raw and Smackdown, replacing John Laurinaitis. In the WWE, agents/producers are usually responsible for helping put together the matches. At just 32 years old and replacing an older force in pro wrestling, Jason Jordan's new promotion places a fresh young mind at the forefront. And people might be like, what, Jason Jordan, blah, 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 this and that. But this could be the start, the planting of the seeds of getting in some new and getting rid of the old, aka a change that we've been wanting on Raw and SmackDown. And finally for WWE. It is rumored that WWE might be leaving Fox already. Crazy, huh? WrestleMonic's Brandon Thurston recently spoke to Wrestling Inc., where he broke down WWE President Nick Khan's coded message during a WWE investors call. He said that the wording Khan used gives a big reason to believe that WWE will soon see if Apple TV or even Amazon might be interested in a blue brand. I think the biggest takeaway is the hype that he added around the idea that Amazon and Apple might get into a bidding war for live sports. So I read that as a coded message to Fox. We're going to shop around SmackDown somewhat aggressively when a deal comes up to be renegotiated. That'll probably start to be renegotiated around the year 2022. And if previous rounds of negotiations are any indication, they'll announce a deal maybe the spring of 2023. So it sounds like Nick Khan is saying we're going to be really interested in negotiating and trying to get the best value possible for SmackDown. On to Impact Wrestling. My boy Danny sent me a pic. The pic that Sami Callihan had tweeted on Twitter and asked me my thoughts on it. When I seen that, in this day and age of wrestling, I thought it could only mean the Switchblade Jay White was coming, because it was a hand holding a switchblade. My boy Danny schooled me that back in the old CZW days, there was a thing called the Switchblade Conspiracy, and that was actually Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley, and Sami Callihan. They had a little tag team faction. So this could mean, since the Good Brothers and Omega jumped Callihan, he's going to form his old faction back with Moxley and also have Eddie Kingston in the mix. They'll have a new Switchblade Conspiracy revival inside of Impact Wrestling. If this happens, this is going to be so fucking awesome, peeps. And shout out to my boy Danny for turning me on to this. Dark Side of the Ring does premiere like May 6th or May 7th, but I do know the first episode, part 1 of Brian Pillman, is up right now to watch. I do have that first episode of the Brian Pillman story on our Facebook and our Twitter. Also episodes of Dark Side of the Ring Confidential about Owen Hart, the Montreal Screwjob, Brawl for All, and more. This show is better than ever. So if you don't have Vice, get it, or you can watch it on our social media. On to some random wrestling and sporting news. We've all heard about the Mickie James and trash bag drama that has been going on. Well, during the Grown Ass Woman podcast, Mickie James spoke about her exit from WWE. She also revealed something very interesting because the person who sabotaged her in WWE and made her feel like shit is still happily employed by the company. "I will say this," she said. "The person that is and was responsible for me feeling like shit and for like I feel completely trying to sabotage or devalue me and make me feel less is still very much employed there. And that's the fucking worst. You know what I mean?" Ex-WWE legend Lita is starring in a new horror movie. It's called It Wants Blood. And here is the plot. Two giant monsters are forced to battle head to screaming head on the political circuit as they run against each other for a seat as senator. But the unsuspecting public doesn't realize that they're actually creatures that each running mate owns, feasting on helpless, big-breasted, quivering-lipped women and charity-thieving priests. The perils of politics never evolved two enormous beasts fighting till the death until now. You'll be on the edge of your seat watching fangs feasting on heaps of flesh as beautiful babes are fed to the beasts in the movie It Wants Blood. This weekend, wrestling promotion MPW had their pay-per-view locked and loaded. If you follow Busted Open Radio, you know that Dave LaGreca and Thunder Rosa have been having beef. Something that he sent Thunder Rosa a t-shirt and she ripped it up on the air when she was doing an interview or something like that. So he's been talking hella shit. He's been training a little bit and they were supposed to get it in last night at Locked and Loaded. Busted Open host Mark Henry and Ryan McKennell were there live in attendance, which was awesome. Everybody's been telling LaGreca he's going to get his ass kicked. Now, personally, I did not watch the pay-per-view, but I did see clips on Twitter, and it's nuts. I see Thunder Rosa throw LaGreca into the corner and give him some vicious-ass body shots. I mean vicious. Besides that, she literally ripped his shirt off while it was on his back, ripped it in half so his chest is exposed, and gave him the craziest double-handed knife-edge chops you have ever seen. LaGreca dropped to his knees. It was fucking insane. The payoff was great. Such good shit. And finally, Ringside News reports that Santino Marella's days as WWE superstar might be over, but his daughter's time in the spotlight might just be beginning. Marella tweeted out a note to Stephanie McMahon and Triple H about his own daughter, Bianca Corelli. He also included a shot of her looking ready for action in some pro wrestling gear. He's been training Bianca to be a superstar, and she's almost ready with a college degree in biology to boot. Santino tweeted, "Hi at Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Remember my little daughter? Well, she's a woman now, and she's been coached since day one to be a total superstar. Biology degree is done this summer, then she's ready for her time to shine. If you ask me if she's got the skills, that would be fucking awesome." Alright peeps, that's it for this episode. Remember, if you want to win that Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse Ringside Collectibles action figure, all you have to do is stay right here on the AEW Inside. Make sure you're a subscriber, so if you didn't do that, hit that button. Besides being a subscriber, just like, share, and comment on any video, including this one. So go to the AEW Insider on YouTube, subscribe, pick any video, like, share, and comment, and when we finally hit 500 subs, I will be doing a drawing and sending that awesome figure out to the winner. Remember to show us some love on all major social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube under the AEW Insider, and on Twitter under the AEW Insider 1 as in the number 1. And if you guys got a little time, definitely check out my boy Two Toots group on Facebook. They're called WWE 3-2. They're called WFW Fan Club, and they're really awesome, and I myself post a lot of stuff there too. Alright peeps, that's it for this episode. If you haven't, check out my Coming to America video. I actually went to a pop-up in Philadelphia based on the movie Coming to America, and it was a shit show. They actually had the balls to serve us warm McDonald's food at a fake McDonald's pop-up. It's crazy. Check out the video. Alright peeps, ciao. I love you. I'll see you next week.